In 1951, an unknown Canadian, Marshall Green, was beaten in a hill climb by an Austrian named Max Hoffman. Hoffman would go on to become part of the Porsche legend and amass a huge fortune. Green, however, would remain unsung for the remainder of his days, own the first Porsche in Canada, and patent 13 inventions for others. In 1976, at 19 years old, I painted the perfect view of an open road. Looking out from my weathered Porsche 356, it was what I loved most then, besides pretty girls. My father, whom I adored, convinced me to have prints made, and after spending $2,000 of my own money, only one print sold. "35 years later, a stranger buys the second print.
We have a gift, and it's fleeting.
It's more of an imperative at this point in my life because I know I'm running out of road.
You just want to be young, and you're not going to be.
Because life will drop kick you. But I always say, get your strength while you're down there and come on back up, right? So you take everything you've been through in life, and if you are fortunate enough to live to get older, how can you not be beautiful? It has nothing to do with your gender or the color of your skin. How can we not be beautiful?
Oh, he's old, he must be retarded, you know?
If you think it, you are it.
So is he going to do the intake with her? Or? I'm going to talk to him about doing it. Are you going to go get them then? Or like...
When I knew that we were going to end up homeless, I told my son that we'd be in a tent. And he thought it was just like camping, you know?
My first experience of homelessness was when my mother had passed away. I went into this huge depression. I couldn't work. Without crying, it was tore me apart. I was a mama's boy.
I sold everything dirt cheap, and walked away. And just took a wad of cash and just traveled around Amtrak, around the lower 48 for about a year and a half. Just stopped where I wanted to.
It happens suddenly. It happens unexpectedly. You didn't expect to get laid off, or you didn't expect to have this medical issue or that one.
Well, we worry about what's going on here. Where do we get time to worry about what's going on with other people?
I had some wealth at one time. I had some pretty decent wealth at one time. What I realized today, what I was doing back then, is I created this beautiful shell around my life, around my person. People looked at this guy, John Horde, and said, you know what, this guy's got a restaurant, he's a fisherman diver, he's got a Harley Davidson motorcycle shop. I mean, this guy's got Corvettes, he's always out somewhere eating dinner. I mean, this guy's somebody I want to be like. That was the image I portrayed. But nobody realized that I was living a life which I call empty castles. Which empty castles is, I had all this neat stuff, but nobody realized I went home alone every night. I walked out of Seattle Airport, I took 2 pagers off and 1 cell phone off and dropped them in the trash can. And it took about 2 years for anybody from Alaska to find me.
Some days I feel like I could care less, but I have to stop and make myself think for a minute. Hey, you have a kid, you know, everything will be okay. He'll blatantly say out to somebody, I'm homeless, or I live in a tent. He doesn't know exactly, but he does know, So I think that the more positive that I make it, the more of an experience he will have. Because if I have a negative attitude, my kid will have a negative attitude. It's all about, it's really all about the parents. That's why I'm blessed that I wake up every day. I'm glad I'm 6 feet above, not 6 feet under.
We're getting by on fumes financially, and the thing is, it's in the Seattle area, you just don't see it. Everything is building, everything is moving, and nobody wants to even acknowledge the fact that, we're teeter-tottering here, and don't be complacent. Have plan B, whatever it is. It's going to be everyone's going to have a different comfort level as to what constitutes their plan B. But start right now, do whatever you can.
Okay, so the other homes I've actually really had besides Tent City was Riverside out in Tukwila, and I was there for 3 years. And the reason why we left is because they had some new property coming on the land, so they wanted to tear the place down.
A lot of people can't afford to live in Seattle, so they move out to South King County, and then they become homeless, and then we see them, and they're probably the same people who are originally from Seattle, right? So it's because of the high cost of housing and the very, very expensive rents. The rents have escalated.
But it takes everyone doing it. It can't go half-heartedly into it. Everyone's kind of got to band together. If you won't want homelessness, then there's things that have got to change. We can't just ignore the fact that the economy being bust and stuff. The minimum wage being raised is not going to just fix it. You have to go a step further. Rent control, making the rent affordable, having the available jobs for the fields that need to be expanded upon versus just construction, because not a lot of people can do just construction.
I think a lot of it is job loss. We're seeing a lot of whatever you want to call it, able-bodied, otherwise healthy-looking men and women who lost their job. And if you lose your job, you can't pay the rent, you lose your housing, right? And then if you don't have family or friends here, then you fall quickly into homelessness.
I had nothing else to do, nowhere else to go. I went to Burger King, got a job that day, 60 hours a week if I wanted it. I worked 60 hours a week until I left Cheyenne. And, that's when I started, being out of homelessness, is when I started working there. And then moving, I always had a job in advance. And this was the one time that I didn't have a job in advance when I got somewhere, was here, because I didn't know anything about the area, and it was pretty terrible. I wanted to figure out where I was before I applied anywhere. I was actually kind of overwhelmed and scared when I got here, so. finding a pastime, a hobby, keeping it together, not going insane in the process, and sinking into the camp drama that sometimes comes with any group of people, you know. My warning to those who are housed or not homeless that are facing it or just literally a paycheck away is start managing your money, and you know, if you have to, learn to relocate to a cheaper area. It's just a bus ride away. It's not worth it being out, you know, into this stuff right here, you know, every day watching people, you know, get shot or hearing the gunshots. It's not worth it. You really don't want it. There's nothing romantic about it. It's not flashy. It's not cool. Yeah, you get to save your paychecks, but for what? You know, to have some crackhead run into you at night, that's pretty bad stuff. That guy right there walking, that buggy, about a month and a half ago, he got hit by a car going 40 off the on-ramp, got thrown through the air, walked out of the hospital the same day. Me and Chuck were the first to respond to it. We thought he was going to die on the spot, man. We couldn't, it was freaking us out pretty bad, but he made it through it. He walked out of the hospital the same day, didn't have any broken bones or any major wounds. Crazy stuff you see, you know?
I think it's actually bad for business that we have so much homelessness. They book some event at the convention center and they hear back from their attendees that people did not have a good experience. They've encountered all these homeless people on the streets. I mean, we have people in North Seattle who don't want to come down to downtown, right? You have people who don't want to visit Seattle for that very reason. And people who I think will not continue to book conventions at the convention center because we haven't solved our own problems.
I needed to salvage what I had in my life, and to do that, I moved into the jungle, which is right across the street. I was living in the jungle for 5.5 weeks, working. The jungle's a strip of forested land that runs along the west side of Beacon Hill, starts down in the International District. It runs all the way down towards Boeing Field and maybe a little bit farther, but it's an area where during the daytime it's kind of pleasant to be in. It's, you know, nature, it's, you know, a little bit of hiking trails and even some paved bicycle trails in there. But at nighttime, it's a whole different story. There's a lot of evil in the jungle, a lot of bad scenarios you can find yourself in real easy. And it's not a comfortable place to be. You know, I'm a rather, you know, big guy, and I still didn't feel safe in the jungle. You know, I'd wake up many times every night, hearing stuff move around, and I'd wake up in fear of life.
We are following breaking news in South Seattle where 2 people are dead. 3 have been wounded after a shooting at a homeless encampment. Right now, detectives are searching for who they call 2 persons of interest.
Tonight, 2 of the victims are in critical condition. The shooting happened in a wooded area near the intersection of Airport Way South and South Atlantic Street, west of I-5. You can see that here on your screen. We begin with Keene 5's John Langler, who is live at the scene.
I just want to reiterate what I said earlier tonight in my live broadcast to the people of the city of Seattle. We are involved in a homeless crisis, the like that we have not seen since the Great Depression. The executive order was not a gimmick. It was an actual plea that Seattle by ourselves could not deal with this crisis. It was an actual plea to the state and federal government to assist us. The area behind us on state right-of-way, commonly called the jungle, has been unmanageable and out of control for almost 2 decades.
And tell me again about that gate. How is that helpful to you guys back there?
Did you hear it? It was quiet at night time. We heard people coming up.
So that's like your security?
Yeah, it's our security. When I moved into the jungle, I mean, the way it works is you find a couple people that you trust and get along with, and you kind of live out in certain areas together. So I had 3 other people in the area I was in, so we're always watching each other's back. And if they weren't around and see stuff being moved around or people headed the direction towards their camp, I'd head them off and question them, or just let them know I'm here. And the other people did the same for me. So
I can't think of any situation where housing is not going to help someone who's homeless. But that's not where people are putting the emphasis. I think housing is a human right, absolutely. And I think in this wealthy community of Seattle, King County, and all these major cities, we have the resources, and it's an issue of priority.
I did not have a lot of control. I was doing a self-managed portfolio. And so I was doing my own research online, trying to make intelligent decisions based on the information that was available. And so it was just a matter of creating the right balancing act there. And it's just the same thing anybody would do. I wasn't doing anything exotic. The point is, I cannot point to any one specific big thing. There's a whole series of things. So it's not that the guy was doing something particularly dumb. I mean, some very educated, a lot of very educated money managers were also being disadvantaged. Nickelsville is built on a slope. This is the upper end of it. We have a campfire here. We don't really have any way to cook here except by using this campfire, and we get these crates in that are donated for scrap. We break them up and we use them in the campfire. So we have a little sheltered area here with a cover. Prepare their foods here. So somebody's heating some water there. This is the back area here. The gate goes over to where we have a garden area. Do you want to go over there and see the garden? Well, there's there's a certain significant number of people that are so well insulated financially, they probably never will have to be displaced. However, I know from my own experience, having had a middle-class lifestyle, people are strung out. They're living from paycheck to paycheck. I was living in an apartment just before we came here because I didn't know it at the time, and they weren't telling us, but they were going to demolish the building, and they were liable, legally liable, to give people a relocation an allowance. I understand it was like $2,000 to help with moving. And if they got rid of as many, and so what they try to do is get rid of as many people as they could so they wouldn't have to pay the $2,000 except to the smallest number of people possible. So they decided that, well, one way to do that was to create this ploy to say, have the manager go around and tell everybody with a pet. They got rid of 15 people that way. Before Nickelsville occupied this property, This was part of the jungle that we talked about earlier. And people just, if you can see, people come in and they've made like encampments here. So when we move, we've got to move here in about 6 weeks. When we move, all this fence comes down, and this is going to revert back to people just squatting here with tents. And if we're given 3 days notice, so it was a short notice. Can't find a place really that accepts animals. And a friend of mine said, well, why don't you check out Nickelsville? They're pet friendly. And I said, no, I don't think so. I'm not living in a tent. That's not for me. And she said, well, look at it like this. Maybe it's just temporary, and it gives you some breathing room so you can find a place. And I said to myself, well, yeah, I could do that for a little while. And that was back around the 1st of April, and I'm still here.
Sick people, right? Pregnant women. It's like okay for them to be living outside.
When my mother gave me up for adoption, I was 5 years old. She told me because of her addictions and her alcoholism that she wasn't really financially stable to take care of us, and that she wanted someone else to take care of us because she knew that they can give us something better than what she could have gave.
Devin, so what do you like to do around Nickelsville as far as playing and stuff? What else do you do that help the camp?
Chop wood.
Chop wood, and what else? Don't do that, Devin.
Be in the security shack.
And what do you do on security?
Help people move in.
Help people move in? What about, do you help with water? How about filling water?
Not yet.
Not yet, because you got to be tough, or no?
Well, I guess I can.
That.
Guess I can.
My adopted family, they kept me from my culture, telling me that it was witchcraft, and which I do not believe in any way. I wanted to dance in powwows in Partial, North Dakota. That's where our family's from originally, but wouldn't allow me and told me to talk to their pastor and say, hey, can I do powwow? So he said it was witchcraft. And so they kept me from my culture for a long time. When I heard from my pastor that it was witchcraft, I cried. I was crying my eyes out. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it, and I still don't think it is, but it tore me down.
You like your tent and you think everyone's friendly here?
Yeah, everyone actually is.
And nice?
Except for people that yell a lot at night.
Yeah, that could be a little issue, but as long as we're not involved, right? But you like Nickelsville and you're having a good experience, like camping?
Yeah, and we live
You
by
like to
the
roast
swing.
food over the fire?
Yeah, and we live by a swing.
And you what?
And we live by a swing.
Oh, by the swing, over by the campfire. There's a swing that you like to swing back and forth on, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good idea, and I like that.
And I like the little park that we're next to.
Mm-hmm. As an experience for you? Like camping?
Yeah, like actual camping.
Mm-hmm.
Can I put my shoe back on?
When I was 5 years old, I was adopted.
Vague memories of my father growing up, but
I actually am on Social Security disability, for shaken baby syndrome and fetal alcohol syndrome.
And then I found out about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago that he killed himself. So.
Eating is every type of trauma a child can go through. I learned
it changes a lot of ways for me, given the fact that it's kind of, messed my brain up, and it's harder for me to understand things. And I don't wish it on anybody to have to go through that.
The next morning, I was supposed to wake up like nothing happened. And I'm just emotionally torn apart inside. I'm looking at 3 sisters and 1 brother, adopted mom and dad, and everybody's all happy and giddy like nothing happened. And deep down inside, I'm like, don't you son of a bitches realize what happened? Can't somebody say something?
We have all these people saying, well, we should study it, like we should get more data, we should hire more people to research. Why are these people homeless, right? As if after they research why people are going to be homeless, they're going to address the problem. I mean, no. I mean, it's not happening that way. So you set up this incredible bureaucracy where the money is going into assessing people, researching, collecting data, right? As opposed to opening up shelter beds or putting major investment into affordable housing, low-income housing. It's like unbelievably top-heavy.
What I think people see when they see a homeless person, whether it be me or Chuck or any of these other guys out here, is immediately that they have to have a sense of addiction. There has to be alcoholism or drug abuse or rapists or murderers. And, there are those kind of people out there. That's obvious, but that's not all of the population. They see problems. They see burdens. They see tax evaders and homeless bums that don't want to work or that don't work, and it's just not a fact.
I found myself 4 days in a row up on Capitol Hill, cross corner from Seattle Central Community College. For some reason, 4 days in a row, just whatever evolved in my life that, those 4 days, I was like across the corner from the school. And I've known my whole life that I wanted to be some type of social worker. I wanted to help troubled youth. I've been through a lot, and I've always felt that I could, reach out to troubled youth that are just, went through the same stuff I did, or just, self-defeating themselves, or self-defeating behavior, tearing themselves apart.
Every day I wake up at 6 a.m. My day doesn't have to start then, it just does. I wake up and I go to a comparison of a job. I go out and I handle meetings every day. I go to the Socialist Alternative office. I do office work there. On days that I don't have things planned like today, I go and I work at day labor. I'm a working individual, I pay taxes, I don't have a drug addiction.
No, that was my calling in life, and I never acted on it. And after the 4th day, Seattle said, cross corner from that college, I was like, okay, something's telling me something right now. And I walked into Seattle Central Community College. I found out what the advisor's office was. I had no idea how higher education worked, And there's all these, these council or these advisor rooms, offices, and empty. I went down the row, empty. Oh, here's one with a man sitting behind a desk on the phone.
There's a big difference between knowing and assuming and making an assumption of things like that. It's unhealthy. There are people that do take that seriously, that don't want to be here and in homelessness. A guy at a meeting one time raised his hand and asked if everyone in the group that would rather be in an apartment would raise their hand. And we obviously all raised our hands. Of course we all want to be in a place. I would much rather be in an apartment with a cush job, chilling, sitting back, enjoying myself every day behind the TV. I would love it. But it's just not something that's capable right now, and something for them to remember, and take with them to the grave is they're always only one paycheck away from being where I'm at. One paycheck is all it takes to be put in a position where I'm at.
And he's just looks at me and I go, you know, I got a rough life story, you know, I can feel I can value the youth. This is what I want to do, it's my true calling in life. And he's just looking at me and I'm towering over his desk. And he gets on the computer and he's just looking at me on the computer and he looks at me and goes, well, you start in 2 weeks. I said, great.
A lot of people are living an artificially secure life. They believe that we've got a government that's going to be there for them. They believe that all the things that are in place for them right now, their infrastructure, is somehow untouchable, and it's going to always be there, and it's been there for generations. So people become complacent.
Yeah, I went to school. I did that fall semester, a fall quarter, with that one class every Monday. Got a 4.0 on it. And I was like, I could do this. So there went all my tools, there went all the construction, you know, work and financial aid. And it took me like 3 years to get a 2-year AAS degree in social and human services out of Seattle Central Community College.
There are factors involved. Anybody can be displaced. Nobody's really immune to it.
I applied to Antioch University, which is the best liberal arts school in the country. They got a satellite school here in Seattle, and I applied for, I won and got granted a full ride scholarship.
A new homeless encampment is officially open in Ballard. The new Nickelsville location is on Market Street, less than a mile from the Ballard locks, and Cairo 7's Jeff Du Bois was there as volunteers and future Nickelsville residents set up the encampment today.
3, 2, 1. Volunteers wasted no time putting together what will be the kitchen tent for Nickelsville Ballard.
I'm really grateful.
Matt Hannas has been homeless off and on for 4 years. He and his girlfriend...
Say hi.
How are you today? And his 6-year-old son, Devin, will have a new place to stay tonight. A chef by trade, Hannes says he's a victim of the recession. Can't find work now because of a domestic violence conviction and trouble getting a valid ID.
It all starts with a decent place to live, and then everything else kind of comes together, you know. Then you can go to appointments, you got a central location that you can leave all your stuff at.
Matt, his girlfriend, and Devin will live in one of the sheds donated to the encampment. Others will pitch tents on wooden platforms.
It's definitely a big challenge, especially I got to look out for him with going to school. We go to the library, read a lot. It's all about him, really, at this point.
Well, when we knew that this place was, when we heard about this place opening up, we knew that, well, they have one for, you know, like this, where we're in a tiny house for families. So we moved over here and got this awesome tiny house, but we also helped with positions here, like new people, what the rules are, you know, a lot of the tents that are up now, the ones that I originally put up when they got here. Well, I'm hoping to be out of here soon. I've had a lot of issues with the neighbors. You know, I almost lost my kid, and I'm still dealing with that right now, and it's terrible because they think that, like, it's an unsafe place, in which I don't believe, and that we're homeless, so it's terrible because I have to go back to court on Tuesday to fight for my kid, so.
Do you like your tiny house? Yep. Are you staying warm in your bed? What's that mean? No, you do too.
The ones that's gonna be hurting the most is my son, you know? I mean, he'd be like in somewhere he doesn't know who they are, or, you know, or in the environment, or any of that stuff. He's the one who's suffering. I mean, yeah, we are too, but not as much as he will be. So, I mean, it's terrible, and I'm just trying to get people out there to be like, hey, you know, eventually this is gonna happen to more and more families when they become homeless, because this is what's happening to us, and now I'm at risk of, you know, I might not get my kid. I don't know. You know, like, they could just clearly come and see us, and, you know, and I don't know.
by and large, the cases that I'm dealing with now are cases where Child Protective Services have intervened in the families in some way with allegations of abuse or neglect. Some of the children have remained in the home, but with social workers and services provided to make sure the kids are safe in the home. Probably the majority of the kids have been removed, placed in foster care with relatives or with family friends until the parents can get the services they need to make it safe for the kids to go back. That's the ultimate goal, is to get the kids back with their parents. The department is required to make efforts to house families before they file petitions. But all these programs are sort of to the extent that there are resources. But that is a question that I ask, or the other two commissioners ask, who do the original sort of contact with the family. So there is supposed to be an effort made to get these kids and families in a home, which it isn't a very good reason to tear a family apart because of homelessness. I do think we have a social or moral obligation to provide decent housing, and I think it is logical. If crime is related to people either as victims or perpetrators, but most often as victims if they're living in encampments. Disease can't be controlled. It's even setting aside human kindness and dignity. We can't live in a society where all of our parks are filled with tents because that's the only thing society's providing. And I do have very strong feelings as a person and as someone interested in criminal justice issues that decent housing is really pretty much the first step.
Well, I mean, I think in the big picture, we know how to end homelessness for hundreds and thousands of people. If you look around what we do, like that building over there, that building is going to house homeless young adults. And then we have another building that's housing homeless seniors and another building that's housing homeless veterans, right? We have 3 social workers, and that we make it a priority, and they are very dedicated, and they are very, very good at finding housing. And we own and manage 1,800 units of housing. So we make it a priority to move people into our housing. So we control, the case management, and we tell our property managers, when you have a vacant unit, we want to move someone from Nickelsville. In terms of the immigrant refugee problem that we're seeing, is that they technically have a sponsor. So before they can come to this country as immigrants or refugees, they have a sponsor. And what happens is that they very quickly fall into homelessness, because after their refugee assistance runs out, which is over a very short period of time, they're staying with, let's say, their host family, their relatives or host family. And then the landlord discovers that they're in overcrowding. There's only supposed to be 5 people, and now there's 10 people in this apartment. So then the landlord will threaten them with eviction, that if they don't get rid of the immigrant guests, right, everybody's going to be kicked out. And so we found that that it's because of the threat of eviction that they quickly become homeless.
Immigration, I think, with the wealth of talent and the sheer tenacity of the people that are coming into this country, that is the only way that we can move forward, rather than focusing on whoever's left behind and whoever's at the bottom. It's more important that we continuously bring in people who know what they're doing, who will contribute to society and help these people, rather than always focus on who's being left behind.
And that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation,
or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Please be seated. By the Constitution and laws of the United States, I hereby declare, adjudge, and decree that from this day forward, each of you is a citizen of the United States of America.
Well, I'll tell you, you would think that a lot of hardcore business people would be, we don't want to spend money, we don't want to, divert city resources or taxpayer money. Why should we be helping these people? They're just like throwaways, right? They don't count. They don't add to the economy. Well, there's another perspective. Even if you're going to be hardcore and mean and selfish, right? I actually worked with DESC, which is another nonprofit. We helped them develop 1811 Eastlake. 1811 Eastlake is this groundbreaking housing first project. It's known throughout the country. We found the land, put together the financing, and worked in partnership. And it took 75 chronic alcoholics off the streets of Seattle. So, these are your, street drunk, street alcoholic, public inebriates. Like, people don't use that term, but public inebriates, right? They were in everyone's doorway. They were peeing in everyone's alley. They were just just unsightly, right? So the Downtown Seattle Association, full of business people, ended up supporting moving 75 chronic alcoholics off the streets because it was a good business decision, right? And as it turns out, not only was it good for the businesses that were being affected, it turns out the city and county saved millions of dollars of these individuals no longer being in the emergency room, having to, recycle food detox.
We are all the same. We do have our struggles, but we're a small community trying to make it by. I think that some people are rude about it. If they can only step in our shoes, then maybe they'll understand, but it probably won't ever happen.
I came to Nickelsville for a reason. I don't know necessarily what that is. Looking back 20, 30, 40 years from now, it may be more obvious why I'm here, but it's not obvious right here in the moment.
We're survivors, we're here together, and we're elevating ourselves out of this position. And there's going to be more like us 6 months from now, and so this homelessness issue really gets, a lot of attention.
If you can't take care of yourself, we need to provide a place for you, but that place isn't going to be sleeping on the street with your baby.
I mean, I'm just saying is that there are solutions.
No, I guess the only thing I can leave on is just be excellent to each other. It's a tough world.
Return to the Mac. Get up what it is, what it does, what it is, what it isn't. Looking for a better way to get up out of bed instead of getting on the internet and checking a new hit. Me get up. First shot, come strut walking. A little bit of humble, a little bit of cautious. Somewhere between like Rocky and Cosby's for the game. Nope, nope, y'all can't copy yet. Glad moonwalking, and this here is our party. My posse's been on Broadway, and we did it all way. Chrome music. I shed my skin and put my bones into everything I record to it. And yeah, I'm on. Let that stage light go and shine on down. Got that Bob Barker suit game and Plinko in my style. Money, stay on my craft and stick around for those pounds. But I do that to pass the torch and put on for my town. Trust me, on my INDEPENDENT shit hustling. Chasing dreams since I was 14 with the 4-track bustin'. Halfway across that city with the back crush shit. Labels out here, now they can't tell me nothing. We give that to the people, spread it across the country. Labels out here, now they can't tell me nothing. We give it to the people, spread it across the country.
Here we go back, this is the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us. Here we go back, this is the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us.
Now, can I kick it? Thank you, yeah. I'm so damn grateful. I grew up really wanna go fronts, but that's what you get when Wu-Tang raised you. Y'all can't stop me. Go hard like I got an 808 in my heartbeat. And I'm eating at the beat like it gave a little speed to a great white shark on shark week. Raw, time to go up, gone. Deuces goodbye. I got a world to see. And my girl, she wanna see Rome. Caesar make you a believer. Nah, I never ever did it for a throne. That validation comes from giving it back to the people. Now sing this song and it goes like, raise those hands, this is our party. We came here to live life like nobody was watching. I got my city right behind me. If I fall, they got me. Learn from that failure, gain humility, and then we keep marching.
Can we go back? This is the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us. Go back, this is the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us. So we put our hands up. So we put our hands up. Let's go.
And all my people say, that's right. Feels good. And all my people say, that's all right. And all my people say,
Can we go back? This is the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us. Go back, this is the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us.
You know that song?
No, what is that?